Jumping to another Western Conference team, and I know you touched upon this in your latest podcast episode, and I don't really like giving it credence, but I know it's like a topic. Zion Williamson's future in New Orleans. The debate over it, has it actually been overblown?
It, I don't think it's been overblown, being that there's been so much tension down there. And the
Okay.
fact that his father is going on local radio, kind of, saying that Zion wants to play, and he's posting that Instagram dunk, and the Pelicans clearly don't want him to play. There's enough there where, I mean, look at to bring us back to Utah. I always come back to this example when talking about superstars or all stars in their franchise, longevity. When the Jazz went out and said that Gordon Hayward could just go find an offer sheet back in, I think it was 2014, and he signed that deal with Charlotte. Like, I think Gordon Hayward remembered that when he became, the top free agent on the market in 2018 and left for Boston. So like the way it's just like any relationship, if someone, you know, says something to you, that can stick in your craw for a while. So if someone's actions, reveal something that maybe isn't what you want them to be, that can stick with you. So it hasn't been, ceremonious and all simpatico down there from the jump, right back to Zion's rookie year, where he came back from that injury and there were those burst limits that he didn't like. And um, I think when David Griffin went out and publicly criticized the referees for the injury that ended Zion's season in 2020, which was like a finger injury. Like, I was told there were some eye rolls from people around Zion about like Griffin trying to kind of win favor with him and do stuff like through the media to, go to bat for him that wasn't necessarily taken as intended. So I don't know if that necessarily means that this is trending towards, Zion gets traded this summer, blah blah blah. But to say that it's overblown, like the fact that that relationship hasn't been kumbaya is something that could ultimately rear its ugly head at a certain point.
Would you expect, given Zion's injury history and then how important a healthy Zion actually is to the Pelicans franchise, that he would sign and they would offer an extension this summer, and that this becomes, if it ever blows up, the situation of the player just wants to get his long-term money and then maybe he'll try and orchestrate a trade later?
Until something otherwise happens, I expect him to sign a contract very similar to what Joel Embiid did in Philadelphia, a very injury incentive laden type deal where it is a full max, but there's a lot of benchmarks he has to hit to actually get that number.
And the Pelicans overall, we know they went after Lowry and CP3 over the summer. They traded for CJ McCollum at the deadline, a deal that I actually thought was a home run for them when people were panning it. Um, do you think they'll still be aggressive as we go into the offseason, or are they sort of looking at this as a situation of let's add a healthy Zion and allow this core to marinate and see what we actually have here?
At this point, they're probably going to get a top 10 pick thanks to the Lakers pick
Right.
falling down the standings. I mean, for a while, everyone in the league was talking about how the Grizzlies are going to have 3 first-round picks this year, and they can't take 3 first-rounders on this roster. They're going to make a big move. Now, one of those picks is a Pelicans pick, and it's top 10. And based off of where they stand, like, I can't imagine adding especially where this draft is kind of being considered. There's supposed to be a lot of good players from 5 to 14, but I don't think there's anyone that's going to come in that the Pelicans right now are going to look at and that this guy can be a massive piece for our core. Maybe I'm wrong, but at this point, I'd expect them to try to look at that pick to go trade and upgrade and make a move to push this team's ceiling closer to the legitimate playoff picture rather than the plan. Yeah, I think they're going to continue to try to win. I mean, it's been 3 years since that front office has taken over, and they're on their third coach now. They seem to have gotten it right with Willie Green. The CJ trade, to your point, was pretty much a home run. Adding in Larry Nance as like another huge bonus. Like, they've got pieces here where you'd see they seem to think add Zion Williamson and one more piece. Could they be right in the mix with the Minnesotas and the Denvers of the world, of that middle tier of the pack right now? Like, I think that's very possible.
The other thing I come back to is just how hard Willie Green has them defending in transition. Like, even with CJ and Brandon Ingram on the court, this team feels the West is going to be wild next year if Kawhi's back and Denver's at full strength. But the Pelicans feel closer, I think, than nationally they get credit for to being something special if Zion is healthy, of course.
Yeah, I think the whole league is just trending to a point where, like, I don't think we're ever going to see a situation where the Cavs and the Warriors met in 4 straight finals ever again. I think there's just so much talent in the NBA right now. Coaching is better than it's ever been. Skill development's better than it's ever been. The way that scoring has opened up with pace and officiating and the amount of 3 points shots that are being taken and the quality of the shooters that we see from top to bottom. I think the West and the East are both going to be bloodbaths for many years to come. I really do.